Well, here's what we're up to. I've got the transfer all done, chains in the bottom, all the chains in the front. We've got a clutch on the bottom, chains on the bottom. I've got all the chassis done for here. Nice strong one. This isn't going to bend, I don't think it'll go into there. The next job will be, I've got to do mounts for the reverse. Right here, and here is a reverse. That's forward and reverse. And it's got a 10mm throw, and this thing's got a 20mm throw. So what I'll do is I'll put a offset by halfway, and it'll, as it pushes out, a plate will go around and pull this one out. So you push 20 here and you pull 10 there. And then I've got the brakes to go on, side brakes, and that has to be mounted up that way, like that. And exactly the same thing, we've got one of those for the brakes as well. So we've got a 20mm push compared to how much it takes here to put the brakes on. So with this one we can do anything we like, because we can get a bit of leeway with the adjustment on these things, which I'll take down. So in other words, if you take your ram, the actuator, right down, nothing will happen. It only works on the last little bit. So on that last little piece that comes up, you can screw it down to what just makes the brakes pull on. So the actuator here, you'll only be using right out, you'll only be using the last 10 mils of its travel, not the whole 20. And you can adjust how much it goes on with that. I was missing this one here, this sprocket here. And if you see, I had to bore the hole it myself. It was just a blank. And I don't have a, what do you call those things? To bore that size keyway. Can't remember what they call them. And they gave me the wrong size keyway for it. These things, that's a slightly bigger one, that's a 5mm, and all the rest is Imperial, which is a size under 5mm. So I could have done that with 5mm, but then I haven't got a 5mm end mill for the mill to cut the shaft anyway. So we are pretty much there. So I'll make all those brake mounts and the reverse mount. I don't think there's a hell of a lot else that I have to do on here. Oh, just this piece here. There's a little piece of steel missing out of there. I got lazy and didn't do it, and now I've got to do it. I can, when I take the motor and everything off, I'll try to tip it upside down and put that last little mount on the end of the gearbox there. The other thing I want to do is put a body pan on it, and the body pan will come down to here somewhere, the end of the motor, and this piece will be open so the hot air can go down through. So I'm going to put the body pans on. I also have to put, I don't know if I can find a piece. I haven't got a piece, but I've got to put, I use a bit of 4x2. Yeah, we call it 4x2, not 2x4. There's 100mm on this end, and when we get to this end, it's got to be a little bit more, so I'm going to have to cut a piece of steel that's 100 mils at that end and comes up to about 140, 150 up here, and it'll be on a slope. And then the mud guards will sit on that piece of steel. So the mud guards will sit out there for 100 mils, and that whole piece there will be the structure for the lid to sit on. The lid will be sitting like that. So there will be just a little piece of angle iron that sits on the middle, and the lid will be welded to that angle iron. So the angle iron will sit on. I think I was chucking the camera all over the place. Follow me. So that will be welded onto there. The angle iron will actually go on top like that. So when you put the lid on it, that angle iron will sit in the middle all the way around, and the front piece will sit there like that. So they'll probably be bolted down 1, 2, a couple of bolts, 1, 2 here. So there'll probably be about 6 bolts bolting it down, and on the back I'll have a big hinge on the back so the whole thing can lift over, because you can't take the whole top off unless you've got some pretty long connections and long fuel lines and everything. So it's easier just to lift it up and have all your fuel lines and electrical lines tied down into one cable, so that you just tilt that back like the other one. I think it's got a whole lot of crap on this one. Haven't been mucking around with this for a while. See this one here, this is done the same. It just lifts up, and you've got the one cable on this one because the whole thing's electrical. That one will be quite a few, because there'll be petrol lines and air lines and all sorts. So it works very well. That's this has got the angle steel on this one too, but it's a little bit back to front. This new one will hang down. It'll hang down over the side like that instead. This one here is probably about 50 kgs on there. Anyone's guess. I reckon when I've finished and all the bodywork's on and the gun out the front, I think we're going to be 150 kgs. I'm pretty sure I'm 120 kgs now. The next video will be probably with all the bodywork around it. And once I've got all the bodywork around, I'll give it a sandblast and I'll paint it. And you'll see it all painted up nice and black. And after I've painted it all black, the next job will be building the bodywork over the top. It'll come up here, straight across here, and this flat piece here will be where the Gatling gun comes off the front. How high that Gatling gun comes up, I don't know, because I don't want the barrel sticking out too far. I think your barrel only wants to be just over the front. I'd hate to. I'm missing a few of those things. Oh, I was just about to say, when I got this blank, I'll show you how I put the keyway in it. Almost forgot. So what I did was I lathed up a little piece like that, and I put the sprocket over the top of it, and I punched a hole, and I'm not sure whether you can see that. Yes, you can. I drilled a hole between this blank and the side of the keyway, and as soon as I drilled that hole, then I put a square file in, and probably took 10 minutes with a square file, and ended up with a nice little keyway. I'm not sure how accurate that keyway is, but I can do a little bit of grinding and mucking around with the keyway to make sure it fits nicely. But to lathe that, drill it, and do that was probably 30 minutes work at the most. It was so quick. All the other sprockets I bought on eBay for $6 plus postage, and this one was $12 downtown, just a blank that I had to machine myself. So it wasn't too bad, but I think I'd rather buy them with the keyway in it and all done. Next video will probably be a bit longer, because I think by the time I sandblast this and paint it, that might be, I'll take some videos when I do it, but it might take a bit longer to muck around doing all that. Looking sweet.